Good morning. This is Haley Solomon with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Director of Housing Policy, Stephanie Watkins-Cruz.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a wonderful holiday if you celebrate, and just a wonderful long weekend in general. We're going to jump right into coalition updates today. As you might have already heard, is Giving Tuesday. And so we invite you all to give and support the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Our work is really dedicated to the value that housing is a human right. And so we believe that you can join us in supporting that value, that belief, by giving generously. All North Carolinians deserve a home to live in with dignity and opportunity. And your investment today allows us to continue the hard work we do to win policies and resources to support the housing movement we're trying to build across our state. So donate today and join a global community of changemakers who invest in worthy causes for 2023 Giving Tuesday. And no amount is too small. Moving on to federal updates. On November 17th, as you may have already heard, President Biden signed another continuing resolution, or CR, that was passed by Congress. This extended the previous temporary spending measure for fiscal year 2024, funding that was set to expire on November 17th. Much like the previous CR that was passed on September 30th, the House Resolution 6363 continues to fund the government at fiscal 23 levels. However, this CR is unique because it's the first ever laddered or two-tiered CR, meaning that it establishes different expiration dates for different federal agencies. The CR extends funding for 4 of the 12 spending bills, and one of those actually includes funding for housing and community development through the THUD bill through January 19th of 2024. And then the remainder of the bills, which include funding for the Treasury Department and the Internal Revenue Service, are funded through February 2nd, 2024. So this unique scenario, yes, it does mean that we have a little bit more time, but it also means that the government could go into partial shutdown, impacting only some federal agencies if negotiations do not succeed for certain bills over others. I also want to highlight that earlier this month, the IRS published their housing credit multiplier for 2024. So this revenue procedure 2023-34, among other things, it outlines the housing credit allocations for 2024. Some of the highlights include the 9% credit multiplier will be $2.90 per capita, which is actually a 15-cent increase from 2023. The 9% small state minimum allocation will be $3.36 million. The private activity bond multiplier will be $125 per capita. And the private activity bond small state minimum will be a little over $378 million, which is an increase of $20 million from 2023. Moving to state updates, the North Carolina Local Government Commission approved $280 million in requests for affordable housing construction and rehab efforts across North Carolina at their November 14th meeting. Just as a reminder, some context, the LGC sits within the State Treasurer's Office and is responsible for overseeing debt and borrowing for local governments and public authorities across the state. This funding is in addition to $750 million in revenue bonds that the LGC approved last month for the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. By comparison, the LGC approved just $418.5 million in affordable housing financing in all of fiscal year 2022. The most recent round of funding approvals included $60 million to NCHSA for projects in Anson, Beaufort, Burke, Cleveland, Columbus, Davie, Edgecombe, Iredell, Johnston, Nash, Pitt, Robeson, Scotland, Stanley, and Wake counties, as well as $61 million for Enlivian in Charlotte. The Wilmington Housing Authority is set to receive $57.1 million. The Raleigh Housing Authority is set to receive $28 million. Wake County, $25 million. Wake County Housing Authority. Winston-Salem Housing Authority, $20 million. The Fayetteville Metropolitan Housing Authority, $15.5 million. And the Gastonia Housing Authority, $12.1 million. Moving to state legislative updates, lawmakers in the North Carolina General Assembly are set to return today. It's still a little unclear how the next few weeks will unfold and how the timeline for the technical corrections bill that will address the different elements in the budget that need to be fixed will end up unfolding, but we promise to keep you posted and let you know how that works out. In local community updates, Henderson County Habitat for Humanity is accepting applications through November 30th, so that's actually Thursday, for 35 homes that they plan to build in East Flat Rock. We'll include the link to how to apply and have more information in the call notes. Affordable housing complexes will be coming to Cherryville and Dallas. An Ohio-based affordable housing developer, Wona Cooper, recently broke ground on two 4% bond deal developments in Gaston County. The 120-unit developments in Cherryville and Dallas, North Carolina, have been in the pipeline since 2021, but were actually delayed by high construction costs. In a divided vote, Durham Council adopts most of the SCAD text amendments. Durham City Council recently approved the contentious private text amendment known as Simplified Code for Affordable Housing, or SCAD, in a 4-3 vote. This has been a long-awaited vote and was delayed several times this year, and ultimately took place after elections, but before new council members assumed their roles. Some of the more controversial amendments that were left out of the vote include time limits for affordable housing density bonuses and allowing residential development in areas zoned for some industrial uses. Significant changes that the text amendment will bring about include eliminating parking minimums, allowing places of worship to build ADUs on their property, eliminating the site plan review process for small-scale development in order to shorten the construction timeline, and allowing detached row houses in the zoning code. We're going to link another piece from Axios highlighting these decisions and reviewing the amendments for particularly the parking minimums, because Raleigh was actually the first city in North Carolina to drop the parking minimums for new construction. So now Durham has joined Raleigh. The city of Raleigh has also recently committed $3.5 million towards the preservation of almost 300 existing affordable units. If you remember a while back, we reported on this pretty historic joint venture sort of public-private partnership that they've embarked on, and this is one of the results of that. There will be 5 rental communities that will receive funding and serve families earning less than 60% of the area median income. So this funding is made possible through the city's joint venture rental development program, which provides low-interest loans to affordable developers. So it's one of the several funds that they have at their disposal. So shout out to Raleigh. In the reports and resources, we have a few. The Joint Center for Housing Studies of Harvard released a piece talking about mortgage forbearance and its role in possibly helping stabilize the economy. Novogradac released an article that talked about the impacts of property insurance, but also how insurance has increased, but it's differed by area. And the National Low-Income Housing Coalition, along with the Public and Affordable Housing Research Corporation, released a report looking at natural hazards and federally assisted housing. We also want to highlight from the North Carolina Clean Energy Technology Center. They released an updated resource to help residential customers become better informed consumers and navigate the different upcoming home energy rebate programs authorized under the Landmark Inflation Reduction Act, so IRA. So if you're curious about IRA and you have homeowners or clients that are asking you about this, or you're curious about it yourself, there's a piece that we'll link in the call notes titled A Word to the Wise, Your Guide to Home Energy Updates with the Inflation Reduction Act. And we're also going to link a Spanish version here. Keep a lookout for additional resources. There's a great group at the center, and we hope to begin talking a bit more about the clean energy and affordable housing intersections in the months to come. In terms of events, this Thursday in C1, the Women in Affordable Housing North Carolina chapter is having a holiday happy hour from 4 to 7 p.m. at Penthouse in Plaza Midwood. Registration is $5, and the link is in the call notes. In person, a wonderful event in Winston-Salem on December 2nd, that is Saturday at 10 a.m. Registration is free, but it's the North Carolina Black Homeownership Forum at the Enterprise Conference and Event Center in Winston-Salem. Link is in the call notes. And Change Lab Solutions, tomorrow at 2 p.m., will be hosting a webinar titled Building Capacity for Equitable Implementation of Housing Policies. And another webinar on Thursday, November 30th at 4 p.m. The Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies is hosting a webinar on housing America's older adults in 2023. We have a few news pieces for you this week as well. And I believe last time I said the same thing. It's a little depressing. So the Atlantic, I think it's now a competition for how kind of just like riveting and depressing these titles can get. The Atlantic has a piece titled, "It Will Never Be a Good Time to Buy a House," really outlining just the struggle of buying in this market. The CNN, who put its name in the hat for most stressful title, U.S. home sales on pace for the worst year since 1993. CNBC, I don't think they're in the hat, but how house hacking is helping Gen Z and millennials become homeowners. I'm going to pay extra close attention to that if I have any hope of becoming a homeowner, according to the Atlantic or CNN. And then in governing, there's an opinion that's actually co-authored by Jess Olivet, the director of the U.S. Interagency Council on Homelessness, talking about how homelessness is preventable and how ending it and saving lives is actually a policy choice. And this is a really great read. So we'll have all of those in the call notes for you. I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. Remember, please don't hesitate to reach out if you have anything to share with us, particularly events and resources and things like that. But if you want us to dive into anything in particular, have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.